I had something happen yesterday, and it's not something I really see talked about a whole lot on TikTok or any of these other apps. My husband is a corrections officer, and previously he was in the military. We actually met right before he deployed, got married right before he deployed for a year overseas. And so, I had to get used to being at home with the kids, young kids at the time, get used to not having the phone calls, not talking to him, not knowing how he was doing. And I was always afraid of the knocks at the door. You have to acclimate to a lot of stuff, but one thing you never get used to is hearing knocks on the door when you haven't heard from your spouse that day. I also had to be the person he could tell all of those things to. He needed somebody that he could trust to support him and be able to hear the hard and scary stuff. I had to learn to be that for him. And then he got home and we were used to being in contact all the time. He came back to a job where he could talk to me while he was working all the time. We actually worked together for a couple of years, so we seen each other, talk to each other all the time running a business. We're that weird couple that we love being in contact with each other. So he takes this job as a corrections officer. And obviously I'm going to have to get used to not talking to him for 12 to 15 hours a day, depending on what goes on. They have to lock their phones up in the car before they can even go in. So once you get used to not having that contact throughout the day, the next worst thing is actually getting a phone call in the middle of their workday. It's actually very scary when you're looking at your phone and it says such and such corrections, or you actually get a call from their personal number, because again, they can't take their phone in. So if they're calling you, they're outside of the facility in the middle of the workday, and that means something bad happened. And I've gotten a call once previously that I needed to come and pick him up. It was an exposure. They should have sent him to the hospital. That's a whole other issue. I go pick him up that day. I get him home. He spends a couple days home getting over the exposure to the drug that was there. And then I get another call yesterday, and this time it's from his personal phone. And this tells me he's out of the facility, which means something bad happened. You want to know what's going on with them. You want to know that they're safe. You would love to hear from your spouse in the middle of the day, just to hear their voice and know that they're okay. But when you look down at your phone and you see their number and you know that that means something's wrong, because it's not time for them to be off work yet, your heart drops into your stomach. And it was an incident, and he had wound up getting hit a couple times, which he can take a hit. It's nothing to him. That's not what he wound up going to the ER for. It was because there was an OC can that exploded in it. And you're talking, this stuff it's pepper spray, it has capsaicin in it, and it had fully went into his sinuses. So they took him to the hospital because he was really dizzy, throwing up. I get the call while he's on the way to the hospital, so he stopped and got his phone so he could call me. I don't get worked up over the stories that he tells me because he handles it. I have faith that he is strong enough, capable enough, and trained enough to do this job properly. He's very, very good at his job. He's very good at loving on these people too. So he has a lot of them that trust him and will work with him and will show him kindness and wouldn't let anything happen to him because of how he treats them, because of how he loves on them, because he treats them like they are people too that made a mistake. When I got that call in the middle of the day yesterday and my heart dropped down into my stomach, I was so afraid to answer. I mean, at least he was able to call me, which still meant something. I also knew that meant he was on the way to the hospital. It wound up being, he was hit in the head 3 times. That didn't do anything to him. He's not swollen, no black eyes, nothing like that. But it was that OC spray. When he was in the military, the knocks at the door scared me. I told everyone if they were going to come and see me, let me know ahead of time. Don't knock on my door. Honk your horn in the driveway. Don't knock on my door. Mothers of his friends, other spouses of his friends, anytime there was a knock on the door, your heart sank. Our corrections officers, A lot of them don't get to tell their spouses full details. A lot of them can't handle that. And he does trust me with that, and he does tell me that. And it also helps me to feel safer because I know he's very capable at his job. But never in a million years did I dream that looking down and seeing his name on my phone in the middle of a workday would scare the hell out of me. Getting calls from the facility number in the middle of the day scares the hell out of me. I love that man. I love what he does. I love who he is to those people. Because they need someone to show them love when no one else will. To treat them like they're still people. I don't want to see his number in the middle of the day. Seeing his number on my phone when he's supposed to still be working, that's another level of fear. And it doesn't help that my son works for the county jail. And I love that both of these men can treat people and love people that way and not look at them as lesser than. So if you can take a minute and pray for our corrections officers. They deal with a lot. Their spouses deal with a lot. So if you're a praying person, take a minute and pray for the men and women who do this job.